injured here, 1v1 Green Tooth Gorge, blue side. Kalzi4 is a Mekboy, teleporting commander that fights ranged combat, does some nice damage, can also disrupt, support, build structures and repair. Not very tough though. Up against Stoned Elf Boy on the red side is a Inquisitor, offensive commander that fights melee to start off, can get ranged weapons, good control abilities and a little bit of support. Has a plasma pistol. Going over to the east side, we have a Sentinel up for Stoned Elf Boy, tier 1 vehicle that can decap points but cannot cap them. Has heavy armor so you can take it down with small arms fire. Really good synergy with guardsmen protecting them from melee squads and in turn being repaired. Kalzi4 with the double shooter opening, blob capping this wreck point. Ranged infantry light can become very powerful in tier 1 if you get both of their upgrades, Knob Leader and Big Shooter. That's quite an economic investment to fully upgrade 2 shooter squads in tier 1, so you don't often see it. And they're going to meet this Sentinel, lots of Dakka on it, and look at the damage, losing some accuracy because they are on the move, just trying to chase it down. Sentinel is quite swift, cannot retreat of course since it is classed as a vehicle. Guardsman here ready to repair. Guardsman repair very quickly. Sentinel doesn't put out a lot of DPS with its multi-laser, but it can easily outlast a ranged squad or 2 with some repair support. Has the ground pound up though, 100 health buff, and the stomp. Are we going to see it here? No, we don't. A no cap game. Kalzi4 ignoring his side of the map by and large to put a lot of pressure on Stoned Elf Boy early on. I'm not sure why he's not stomping, but he does get away. Sluggers will now be annoying and decap this fully matured rec point. You just saw it mature to plus 30 there. The longer you have a requisition point, the more requisition it gives you per minute. Inquisitor forced off by the mech. Look how much damage he took from his shooter. He's now trying to shoot up his node. Not interested in capping. Orks just want to blow stuff up. These shooters down to just 3 models. These guys have the Knob Leader on the way. These are now fully upgraded shooters. Very nice DPS, can also suppress with aiming what's that. Decent durability, and they are a detector as well. Now backing off, don't want to lose a model. Sluggers did lose a model. Mekboy decapping this power now. What is the Inquisitor going to do? Not much he can do apart from Hammer of the Witches, and here we go. That's her starting ability, and a very good one it is. Single model, gets hard stunned and takes 100 damage. Does take a long time to wind up that animation though. 500, no cap gain. Shooters running away. These guys lost 2 models. Mekboy getting the big shooter of his own. Nice and cheap, 115.20, a straight up DPS increase. Doesn't need to set up, so he can teleport around and shoot stuff, and there it is. Look at the damage to the Inquisitor. She caps and needs to run, and there we go, and puts the node up. Stoned Elf Boy floating a lot of power because hasn't been able to put up some generators. Might see 2 plop down here. Katashan Devils on the way now. Kalzi4, I don't think he's going to he's not even reinforcing his other shooters. Perhaps, well, looters would be the obvious choice versus Imperial Guard, but he might go for Storm Boys to put some real pressure on these guardsmen. We'll see. Might go straight to tier 2 and get a Weird Boy out quickly. Sentinel decaps the west side. Was it even capped? I'm not sure. Guardsman not interested in capping though. We do have a sergeant up on these guys. See him there with his auto pistol and chainsword. Takes the squad up to 9 models, allows them to reinforce 2 at a time. Sentinel taking pot shots at these shooters. These guys are in heavy cover though, and as you can see, easily able to tank the damage and trying to take down this node. Huge amounts of pressure from Kalzi. He's only now started to cap up his 2 natural wreck points here. Inquisitor forcing the Mekboy into that garrison. Stoned Elf Boy not even able to get close to his natural VP yet. Excellent harassment from Kalzi over here. Sentinel decaps the mid, is a single cap, 500, 462, and we do have looters on the field for Kalzi. Setup team that's suppressed with this big death gun, high burst damage, and they can also infiltrate. Stoned Elf Boy with Catachan Devils, very versatile infantry. Can support, can put down improvised explosives as you see there. Very good in melee and a decent ranged attack with these shotguns as well. Can also detect, so lots and lots of uses for Catachan Devils. They will really bleed you though if you lose models on those guys. And double looters from Kalzi, really. This mech with some epic harassment on this side takes down the node again. And it's a no cap game again. Sentinel backing off here. Sluggers looking menacing. They might just cap this west side though. Yes. Looters have pushed all the way up here. Setup teams can be very dangerous for Sentinels since they take a lot of damage as they get close. Setup teams with suppression weapons do more damage the closer you get. And since the Sentinel is one big target, it really gets poured on. But we do have double looters. This is going to be very interesting. Stoned Elf Boy with Catachan Devils, they can do a little bit to help you versus setup teams. Their reliable grenade launcher can disrupt them, and their smoke grenade can protect you from their damage. But they're not exactly a hard counter for setup teams. You do need to do a little bit extra to force off the team. Disrupting and running his Inquisitor maybe, or he might just get Interrogator armor and try and infiltrate the Catachan Devils, and they can just walk up to the looters and smack them in the face. Sluggers capping. Nice map control for Kalzi. Has looters in this building. This is some epic aggressive harassment from Kalzi. Mekboy was finally forced off, but is now teleporting back into mid. Catachan Devils with their grenade launcher there forced off. They lost 2 models in that engagement. Might lose more. Shooters are in retreat path and they are going to force melee using War. Running right past the looters in this garrison as well. 500, 418, single cap for Kalzi. And now Storm Boys. Kalzi with an incredibly heavy tier 1. Double looters, fully upgraded shooter boys, though these have no upgrades. And now Storm Boys, wow. Stoned Elf Boy cancelling tier 2 and gets an artillery spotter squad. This is going to be a very interesting end to tier 1. Looters setting up right inside his base. Unable to suppress on their first burst, but they do suppress on that second one. Catachans with grenade launchers on the shooters. Inquisitor is isolated but does get away. Battery pack on the way for the mech. Sentinel being double repaired, and it's just shooting the crap out of these looters. Suppression does not affect it, of course. Taking a lot of damage though from 2 looters, and these guardsmen need to run away. Loses a guardsman squad, ouch. 500, 395. Huge amounts of pressure by Kalzi. We do have artillery spotters. Really hard counter to range squads and setup teams. And here we go. There's the mortar shell called in off map. Can also call in a smoke shell. You might see it on the shooters. There it is. Reducing the range of them to virtually nil, allowing the Inquisitor to get into melee. Also have Catachan Devils coming in. These guys really hurt in melee. They actually have power weapons. 2-to-1 cap for Kalzi. And both players go tier 2 at about the same time, which is good for Kalzi considering he got Storm Boys as well. Jump troops with power weapons, and they're capping right next to this improvised explosive here. Improvised explosives are infiltrated so they can't see it, and it goes off and doesn't do a huge amount of damage. Wasn't quite close enough, but those things really hurt if you're standing right on top of them. Storm Boys got off easy. Their knob leader is on the way already, and this guy's mean. Stoned Elf Boy now decapping mid with Catachan Devils. What's he going to get in tier 2? Obvious choice for Imperial Guard is usually a Chimera, but we do have double looters here and a mech, all of which can get a beamy death gun, which are ferocious anti-vehicle weapons. Catachan Devils running away here. Kalzi4 yet to lose a victory point off his counter. What can the Inquisitor do? Might get Excruciators or the crossbow bolt pistol to deal with the Storm Boys, because when these guys jump in it's going to be painful. Already have power melee weapons there. Storm Boy Knob Leader gives them a heavy melee weapon, which is good versus all targets, and Stone Elf Boy completely lost his power. Storm Boys jumping in. There's the stomp. They now have their Knob Leader up though. Also allows them to stun when they jump into combat. Triple cap for Kalzi. And there's a battery pack heal. Nice support on these Storm Boys going after the Sentinel. They know the stomp is on cooldown. Not sure what that jump was about, but they are forced off. We have some Stormtroopers for Stone Elf Boy. Versatile range squad. He's gone for the assault kit. Gives them hell guns. Awesome damage to infantry from long range. Also gives them a fragmentation grenade. And Kalzi4 in a very dominant position now. Triple cap. Lots of the map decapping and now capping Stone Elf Boy's natural power. Not giving up though, there's a grenade. Stormtroopers can also infiltrate. Such an awesome range squad. If you can look after them, they are quite fragile. And take down the Mekboy. Look at that DPS. Inquisitor now has an Inferno pistol. Good damage to all targets from relatively short range, kind of like a melter pistol. Also gives her the judgment ability. Allows her to judge a target after 20 seconds, doing huge amounts of damage to it. Gonna get a 2-to-1 for Kalzi, but look at this, he's capping up the entirety of the map pretty much. Looters and double shooters capping. More Stormtroopers on the way. Obviously gonna want to keep these guys well away from the Storm Boys, perhaps using the Catechins to counter the Storm Boys with their shotgun blast. And very nice melee damage. They are a hard melee counter. But can they deal with upgraded Storm Boys? I'm not sure. Also have the improved rocket backs. Allows them to kamikaze one of the Orks into enemies and explode it. 500, 172. No sign of the electric armor then. We do have battery pack up and custom force field. Fully kitted out mech is repurchased. 2-to-1 cap. Stone Elf Boy under huge amounts of pressure, and the Inquisitor has judged something. You can tell by this yellow icon on her. Wherever she's judged will have a red icon, and it's these sluggers right on the Knob Leader. Storm Boy's jumping in. There's the stomp. Catechin Devils are there. Huge damage to the Storm Boy. He's going to lose them. There's a battery pack heal. Can he get them out of there? Looks like they perhaps might. No. Inferno pistol, I think, finished them off. And judgment goes off on the sluggers. That was painful. Wow, indeed. Why did he run the sluggers in? And in Hell Fury Strike on retreat wipes them. Talk about a bad engagement. Why did he run them in though when they had Judge up on them? Mekboy went down. Sluggers wiped. They were fully upgraded sluggers. Fully upgraded Storm Boys wiped. That is huge, huge losses for Kalzi. Amazing comeback and turnaround from Stone Elf Boy. He had the units to counter and used them. Inquisitor didn't even need to use a sail. Had the stomp and the Catechins there, and those Storm Boys were melted. Now we have a Death Dread. Not sure that's the best idea. We do have an Inferno pistol which will damage it heavily. Also, the Sentinel can get a missile launcher and load up some crack missiles, which are good versus large targets and vehicles. And the Catechin Devils also can get a Sarge who has a melter gun. In fact, they do have him already. You see him there holding a melter gun towards the left. Melter guns are short range weapons, good versus all targets. They will do 75% of their damage to vehicles. 477, 135. 2-to-1 cap for Stone Elf Boy now. And we're going to see a Burners and Bits Death Dread to burn down the generators. Gives it a nice health buff as well, up to 1050 hit points, but he's not using the burners on the generator. He's smacking it. Oh well, eventually they will go down. 465, 135. Catechin Devils have infiltrated themselves because they are idle. Use their Grenade launcher. The shooter knob has now spotted the Catachin level, so they back off. 457, 135. Shooters getting melted here by those stormtroopers. Good grief. Inferno pistol going off as well. Really nice sentinel usage. This guy's level 3 now. No sign of the missile launcher though. 446, 135. Now Kalzi4 under huge amounts of pressure goes tier 3. Death Dread eventually smacking these generators to death. Has very nice area of effect damage to infantry, as all walkers do. Splash damage, but this thing has an especially impressive special attack which has huge area of effect. Now Stone Elf Boy hitting power, drop take health, Fury Strike. That's one of the globals for the Inquisitor, shared with the Grey Knights. Catachins putting up and improvised explosives on this VP. Also had one in this power and it's still there as well. Look, 431, 135. Power getting hit completely for Kalzi. He's going tier 3 and perhaps some flash kits or commandos on the way. Looters forced off. Both of his looters still have their death guns, and here's that Death Dread. Can he make this thing work? You can see that wiping those gens give the Death Dread a decent amount of XP. Shooter Boy Knob Leader spotting that improvised explosive and they shoot it down. Spotters on the way. I'm not sure if their tier 2 upgrades. Incendiary Shell shows up in the unit card, so I can't tell if they have it. They do have a plus icon, so perhaps they do. Does damage over time, very good versus garrisons. Shares a cooldown though with the basic mortar shell. Looters, sorry, sluggers. No, it was looters getting absolutely owned. 431, 121, 2-to-1 cap for Kalzi. Still got the VPs. Judge is up on these shooters, taking a lot of damage. And there's a mortar shell, and they're going to wipe on retreat. There's a rocks from Kalzi4. Looks like he has spotted it in time. Lots and lots of ouches though. They still knock you back on retreat. Got away pretty well, I think. Sentinel has its missile launcher up, and this is pretty much game over for Kalzi4, I think. Can use frag missiles or crack missiles. You saw frag missiles on those shooters there. Very slow moving, but good area of effect damage when they do land. Mekboy is chasing this thing down with his big shooter. What's Kalzi4 gonna do? Has enough to get knobs, enough to get flash kits or commandos. There are the frag missiles. And teleports away. I thought it was gonna take down that sentinel. Trying to force melee on these stormtroopers to stop them firing. Nothing for them to fire at anyway. Puts up his force field to disrupt them. And they need to run away from the Death Dread, who took a lot of damage from something. Battle Wagon is gone for Kalzi4. Interesting. 426, 105. Does have the Inferno pistol. Now has Excruciators as well. An awesome armor, I think, with Assail, one of my favourite abilities in the game. You don't see it very often. Sentinel is still level 3. Spotters now level 2. Not cheap to reinforce spotters. 46.5, I think. They can get another upgrade in tier 3, which takes their basic mortar shell up to 110 damage. Their tier 2 upgrade takes it up to 75. It starts at 50 in tier 1. Hammer of the Witches on the mech. Boom. Needed to teleport out there. All you have to do is get out of range of it and the animation will stop. Improvised explosive. Cheeky. No longer has the shooter knob to spot stuff. Death Dread's going to go down. Melter gun from the Catachins. No. Teleports in to disrupt, but the crack missile from the Sentinel takes down the Death Dread. For those that don't play and are curious, you can freely change between crack and frag missiles on the Sentinel. I don't think there's any cooldown on it either, but I could be wrong. Could be a slight cooldown. Level 3 Stormtroopers and level 2 Stormtroopers. Kalzi4 with just a battle wagon and looters and a level 3 mech. Super unit for Orks. Decent firepower. You can also put a squad inside to boost its speed and make all of its guns fire. You can also run stuff over with its death roller. There you see the slight speed buff when those looters got inside, and now all of the shooters on top will fire at this sentinel. There's a devastating area of effect shot from that big zap gun on top. That wasn't it. That's just a normal attack from the zap gun. He's going right into base here. Inferno pistol of the Inquisitor getting rear armor hits. This is a last hurrah from Kalzi4. Now has sluggers on the way. Needs to get out of here. Stone Elf Boy has a las cannon, crack missiles, getting rear armor hits. But the battle wagon will get away. There's the triple cap for Stoned. Can Kalzi4 pull this out of the bag? Has double sluggers now. These are the repair unit of Orks. They can repair the battle wagon. These guys have a knob leader on the way. Didn't really get to see the other sluggers in action. They got absolutely owned by the judgment of the Inferno pistol. Level 4 Inquisitor Mekboy is down. He's level 5, taken down on this west side by stormtroopers. Stone Elf Boy now pushing mid. There's the big snap gun shot. Boom! Huge disruption and damage. Killed only 2 or 3 models though, I think. Catachan Devils have done so well for Stone Elf Boy level 3. Taking lots of damage from the battle wagon's main gun though here. Las cannon is getting shots. Very effective anti-vehicle weapon that also snares large targets such as the battle wagon, and it needs to back off. Sluggers can repair though. 282, 81, double cap for Stoned. Really thought Kalzi4 was going to get some flash kits or something. I guess it wouldn't have been that good thinking about it. Flash kits are a very strong range squad, but would have been up against guardsmen, double stormtrooper squad, and artillery spotters, which could counter them hard with a smoke shell. So don't listen to Indrid. Battle wagon was a pretty good choice. All in all, knobs would have been suppressed by catachans and assailed by excruciators. Perhaps 2 looted tanks would have been better, maybe. We will see though. 240, 81 now has a las cannon, inferno pistol, crack missiles, and the melter gun on the catachans to deal with this battle wagon. Needs to be careful. Big pop on these stormtroopers. They're level 3 though. What is this? Big boom. Doesn't wipe them. Didn't quite target it. Right. Mekboy teleports over to the east side to try and cap. And it's going to do it, I think. This heavy bolter right on the edge of the firing arc, so it's not doing a huge amount of damage. Needs to teleport away or something. There we go. Could have taken a garrison and annoyed him a bit more. Looters trying to suppress this las cannon. It has its sergeant, which gives them this shield that you can see, preventing knockback when they are set up, which is pretty good. I think it also prevents range damage. Some range damage resistance anyway. I'm not completely sure about that though. Looks like Stone Elf Boy is perfectly happy to stay in tier 2, and why not? Still very much his game to lose despite the VP deficit. Needs to cap mid though. 1-to-1 now. Sluggers do not want to fight level 3 Catachan Devils, and they are forced off. Battle wagon here. Sluggers are getting inside it, and there is the speed buff. You tell how many squads are inside by that yellow bar that you see there. Catachans take the building. Big boom shot on the building. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage apparently to garrisons. Here comes the Sentinel to perhaps get some rear armor hits with crack missiles. There we go, boom. And that was a rear armor hit somehow. 231, 59. 2-to-1 for Stone Elf Boy, but the Mekboy again is decapping east. I'm not sure why Stone Elf Boy is not just putting this setup team in the garrison. 223, 59. Put it somewhere where the Mekboy can't teleport in and tie it up. Improvised explosive is there, another one here. Not sure if there's a limit to how many you can have on the field at once. I don't think there is. 223, 59. Kalzi4 taking his natural power back and has some flash gits. Getting their git finders, long range, dangerous stacker. Can get blasters which do area of effect damage, but they can knock back the firer of the weapon as well. Very, very orky. Does he have enough firepower though to deal with what Stoned Elfboy has? He has taken down one of the Stormtrooper squads, and his Lascan has taken tons of damage. This is a medical bunker though, so they will be able to reinforce off of it. Sluggers go and chop up those spotters. Down goes the Sentinel. Good engagement for Kalzi4. Now in amongst those spotters. Stoned Elfboy hasn't noticed, he might wipe them. And does wipe them. 203.59. Wow. 30 seconds. And it takes a huge turn. The last cannon is gone as well. Battle wagon doing very well for Kalzi4. Here comes that Inferno pistol though. Level 5 Inquisitor Catachan Devils are still around. Still not level 4 though. Those flash kits were awesome. 75-10 to reinforce, good grief. And they didn't reinforce, need to go back to base to reinforce. He's paid for a reinforcement that he doesn't have. That could be a huge difference. He's losing a third of the DPS of this squad right now. 160-59 single cap for Stoned. There's the 1-to-1, here's the 2-to-1. Fully upgraded guardsmen in terms of squad leaders. Has he realised that he needs to send them back to base to get that model? Inquisitor wants to use Hammer of the Witches. Flash gets take her down though. 151-59. Can't believe how quickly Stoned Elfboy lost that stuff there. Same thing happened to both players. Just a really, really bad 30 seconds of play, and that's how quickly it can turn around. Stormtroopers, a new Stormtrooper squad getting the anti-armor kit, gives them a melter bomb and melter guns, and allows them to infiltrate. They really are a top level anti-vehicle unit with this anti-armor kit. Battle wagon doesn't have much to fear from Catachans, only a single melter gun in there. Flash kits with that long range stacker still do not have the member that they paid for. Close enough to the improvised explosive to see it. It goes off and does not harm them, and they're going to cap the east side. Kalzi might, no, he's not going to get a triple. Stormtroopers cap the west. Kalzi needs to teleport over and take that quick time. 142.46. Looks like Kalzi4 might turn this around after all. Heavy weapon squad with the las cannon, upgrading that heavy bolter to it. They're going to set up. And there's the melter bomb to the battle wagon. Can he take this thing down? No, melter guns and the las cannon and the inferno pistol. A sail is that? No, that's, what is that? Why are these flash kits not moving? It must be a sail. A sail usually gives a effect that you can see though. Couldn't see it there. Battle wagon does go down. Very quick attack there. But there's the triple for Kalzi4, and he's gonna take this. Really nice game. Two big turnarounds for both players, and there is the cap. 142 VPs remaining. Kalzi4 actually had another flash kit squad on the field. Thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.